What up, people? It's Nickopz here, and today I'm going to be talking about an unfortunate topic, in my opinion, and that's the fact that Mortal Kombat 1 has got a definitive edition now. And what that means is the game is basically not going to be supported anymore. And that's what that basically means, but there's always, a chance we can get a hot fix or something, or they could revert it, but they never do when they announce their definitive edition. So we're going to see, but the game is most likely just done. Now, the main reason that the game is done, because this person who leaked this has been 100% right, so I'm not going to really question it. It's because Chaos Reigns sold poorly. That's it. And while the game is still doing good numbers wise and it's getting played a lot by a lot of people, the most played fighting game in the world right now, that doesn't change the fact that NRS holds themselves to a different standard to other games when it comes to sales. And the fact that Chaos Reigns sold poorly could be the main reason the game is not getting supported anymore. And it's just as simple as that. But again, they have no one to blame but themselves for that. Now, let me make something very clear. If you haven't been watching my channel for a while, this video might come off as I'm, hating on NRS, but that is not me at all. For the past couple of months, ever since Chaos Reigns, I've been actually one of the main people defending the game. So I don't want to hear none of that crap in the comments to where, oh, you're just another hater, this, that, and the other. No, you don't know me. You not a consistent person on the channel if you think that. I'm just not. And I think this game is very good. I actually think this is, in its current state, gameplay-wise only. Gameplay-wise only. I think it's the best, was the best currently supported fighting game out at this time. Now, I know everybody has heard me talk very highly of Street Fighter 6, but Street Fighter 6 has had a very, very boring life cycle so far in terms of patches and keeping the game updated. So it's basically a snooze fest right now. And Tekken 8 just had one of the worst fighting game patches of all time. Like, it's a volatile game now. So, yeah. Mortal Kombat 1 became the best by default, dang near. Gameplay-wise. Gameplay-wise. So, this game, even still, is in a very great position. So, for them to end support on it now is just very annoying. And let me start discussing why. The thing about NRS, which y'all can understand, they're a company at the end of the day. They're going to do whatever makes them the most money, like most companies choose to do. A lot of fighting games don't get supported like NRS does. NRS usually has a 2 to 3 year life cycle before it's done. And that's why when people were complaining that we might not get another combat pack, and they were just acting like it was the end of the world. Again, while I do think that it's crazy for them to act like that because NRS games get supported for like 2 years, that's it. It's the fact that there was one asterisk to that because, again, the norm is our games get supported for like 2 years and then they move on to the next one. But here's the problem. Here's the main problem. And if you said anything else about that, I disagree with you. But I agree with you on this. This is the main problem. If you are mad at the current support cycle of the game, I feel like you have the right, if you are calling NRS out on their lies. Their blatant lies and miscommunication. Not even miscommunication. No communication. That's why we're always left to nitpick at Twitter. That's why we're always forced to nitpick at Twitter posts from Ed Boon to get information. Even with my last video, when I was talking about, do we think Combat Pack 3 is coming out? I figured that there was at least a 50-50 chance because he was talking about keeping the game updated. So why would he talk about keeping the game updated if there wasn't a chance for that? But he was doing it for a final patch. So there's no way any of us could have known that because they don't freaking talk. They don't communicate with their fan base, like, at all, for the most part. Can't say it all because they do a little. But when it comes to us having very important information to discuss the longevity of the game or what's going on with rumors, they never ever speak on it. Their communication is easily probably the worst of any AAA title out there. Them as a company have terrible communication. And it's really annoying because, again, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the lies. Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 11 were both supposed to be supported for years. For years. They have said this. The devs, they have said this. Like straight up said this, that the games were supposed to be supported for years. They did it with Mortal Kombat 11, and the excuse for making this game take so long was the fact that it was supposed to be supported for years. That's why I was so lenient on so many things about this game, because, again, they're saying the game is going to get supported for years. Some things we could let slide in the game, like how the fact that the game didn't have rooms, which is crazy still to this day, how there was a lack of, options out of just pure gameplay for the game, and how the balance over time has gotten better and better, but did not start off that way. I felt like there was a lot of things you could let slide because the game was said to be supported for years. But with that now being changed, there are some things that absolutely make no sense for them to have left the way that they did. And this is not me hating on them. This is me actually calling it out, because you're liars. Like, the company just lies. Y'all have said 2 games in a row that y'all want it to be like a normal fighting game. Because that's the thing about NRS that y'all aren't picking up. Now, I don't know if it's Boone. I don't know if it's the devs. But they are very insecure about how MK is perceived. They are. It's very obvious. Just with like the changes they make to the game and just the things that they try to emulate from other fighting games now, like the health. Like, NRS should not have health values. I need to make a whole video on it, but they do not know how to manage health values properly in games. Like, example, for these 2 characters fighting right now, Reiko is better than Garrus, just flat out. And Garrus, at this time, this was recorded because they did give Mataro the 50 health back in the final patch, which is good, but he has a plus 50 health. Reiko is better than Garrus. Reiko should not have 1100 health and Garrus have 950 with their different placements on the tier list. Like, they don't know how to do health values properly. Now, with the final patch, they did tone down, and this goes to another example. They did tone down Trimmer's health, and they did bring up Mataro's health. So this is actually a very perfect example of the game getting better and better over time, because in the final patch of the game, well, the perceived final patch, they realized that. But again, this just goes to show that they try to do things that other fighting games do. For example, even saying the game will be supported for years on years to end. Now, I'm smart enough to know, I don't know if other people are, that they would lose a lot of money if they decided to support the game years upon years like other fighters do. The reason that NRS makes so much money is because it's a very casual dominated game, and they know every time they drop, they're going to sell like crazy. They're like a music artist that, always does good numbers. And they know that if they decided to support the game for years, it could be a risk. They might be able to make a good amount of money, but it's not going to be around the same. But their games will be perceived much better in the, I want to say, public perception of the FGC. Their games will be perceived a lot better if they get supported longer. So that's how I know that they're insecure about how their games are perceived, because there's literally no reason for them to have made that statement 2 games in a row that the game is going to get supported for years. Because honestly, they could pop out a game every 2 to 3 years and they're going to keep making crazy money. So the fact that they said that, I know that they're insecure about how their games are perceived by the actual competitive player masses. Now, it's irrelevant because a lot of people don't understand that the competitive scene is less than 1% of people who play fighting games in general, but it does have a form of, what's the word, togetherness in the FGC, where people view Mortal Kombat as like how people like to say the redhead stepchild. You know, I think that's the right way to say it. But again, you know, with me being on the front lines defending this game like I have been, you can say whatever the heck you want about Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat is played more, makes more money than your favorite fighting game. They do. So the fact that, you know, they do feel insecure about it, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mess with their sales that much. But I feel like they want to make a product that can go down as, you know, something very respected in the FGC. I really feel like they want to do that. But what they got to understand is the reason these other games get supported like they do is because the extended support. I truly feel like if this game got like the 5-6 year support like we were supposed to get, like they keep saying, but keep freaking lying, literally lying, if it actually did get that, then this game, oh, like sky's the limit. Because this game is great. I really do think this game is great. And again, if I haven't mentioned it already, this game in its current form is better than Snooze Fest patch Street Fighter 6. Like I said, I've spoke very highly of Street Fighter 6, but their updates have been a joke over time. And the game is very stagnant. And Tekken 8 just had one of the worst patches of fighting game history. So I don't know if I mentioned that already, but again, gameplay wise, this game is in an amazing state currently. So again, it's just a shame. I really do think it's a shame. And I know what some people might say too, well, that could have been their plan, Nick, but you know, with the poor sales of Chaos Reigns, it made them change their mind. Okay, all right, that's fine. I get it. Plans change sometimes. You know, not everybody is going to have, you know, the same thought process when it comes to things. But I feel like if a plan changes, you should let someone know. You know, if you plan to go somewhere with somebody at like 5 o'clock or something comes up and you can't go at 5 o'clock, don't you think you should tell that person that the plans changed? I don't think that's a hard concept to freaking understand. So freaking NRS, if you're going to say 2 games in a row that you are going to support these games for years and something changes, don't you think it would be, you know, at least a good idea to mention that to people so we know what's going on? Now, I know what some people are going to say again, like, I got it. I'm clockwork with this. Well, why would they let us know that the game is ending, Nick? Why would they let us know? Because, you know, that might do something with the sales, this, that, and the other. No, it's not. It's not. Anybody that actually cares about the game, anybody that cares about if the game is going to get supported that way is not their target freaking demographic. So it's not going to affect the game that much. It's just for the diehards and the people that are going to be playing the game for years on years on years that it matters to them. So it wouldn't be that hard to just communicate a freaking bit NRS. Years upon years of poor communication. And it's honestly just getting old to me. Again, like I always say in my other videos, they're a company. At the end of the day, they're going to make the best business decision at the end of the day. They're not for the fans anymore. The last game that they really were for the fans is my personal favorite NRS game, Mortal Kombat X. That game is amazing. That game is fire. It still has a competitive scene to this day. To this day, almost a decade later. Imagine if that game would have kept being supported. But again, they can do what they please. They're a multi-million-dollar company that is going to make decisions based on their pocketbook. So while I feel like this decision is dumb, it's probably going to be the decision that makes them back their money from their other failed games. So we're most likely, if I'm right about this, we don't get it in, well, we're either getting an Injustice 3, a new IP, or Mortal Kombat 2. Now, in that order, I think we have the highest chance of getting Mortal Kombat 2. Then I would say, not in this order in terms of release, but which one I'm picking. I would say we get another MK2, well, another Mortal Kombat, which is MK2 or MK12, where they just try to make their money back from what they lost on this game. I don't know if we're going to keep getting Injustice, because Injustice was like their little fun side project because they made so much freaking money that they could do what they want. But now that the game is, their games aren't doing as well, I feel like that they might cut out Injustice. And then the last one, I would say the new IP. But yeah, we're most likely going to get MK12 or 2 or Injustice 3 now that the game is not getting supported anymore. And I really do think it's a shame. I feel like this game is overhated, mainly because the cameos. The cameo system is not that freaking bad. Like, so many people be whining like children over this cameo system, and it's really not even that bad. It's not. I will say that they should have worked on it more, and it's becoming very good now, and they need to do something. Well, I can't say that anymore because it's definitive edition, but bring them all around the same level more, because the ones that aren't used are severely underused. And I feel like the cameo system is probably balance wise the worst thing about the game. But besides that, I feel like they were learning, and people just cried and cried about the cameo system to the point where I don't think we're going to get it again. Even though I think it was a good idea, it makes the game more interesting. It gives characters more of a fresh feel. It makes to where you can discover new tech years later. But just a regular casual NRS fan that doesn't actually play other freaking fighting games isn't going to know that. But oh, this is annoying. It really is annoying because this game had so much potential. It really did. But this is the third time in a row that they, second time in a row that they lied. So it is what it is. They're not going to receive repercussions from it because the target demographic that cares about that isn't going to affect their pocketbooks. I just think it sucks. And hey, we'll see where we go from here. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And Nickopz out. Join the Discord.